It's another edition of Public Square on Adabai 8.9 FM. Just for those who are joining us for the first time, this is a program that discusses topical issues from the standpoint of the people. And this morning, we'll look at some of the events that have trailed the presidential election held on the 25th of February 2023. Two political parties, that's the People's Democratic Party and the Labour Party, have filed a suit challenging the outcome of the elections after the announcement of the All Progressives Congress candidate, that's Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, as the winner in that election. And just yesterday, there was a hearing at the appeal court where the court ruled that INEC should go ahead and reconfigure the beavers that's against the suits filed by the Labour Party's candidate Peter Obi, asking the court to restrain INEC from going ahead to reconfigure the beavers. Reasons given by INEC were the fact that there's a governorship election scheduled for Saturday, which unfortunately has been postponed by the electoral umpire. Just yesterday we heard in the news that the governorship election and House of Assembly election was postponed by another 1 week. A lot of things have happened so far, even though some parts of the Nigerian society and of course from the international community have continued to pour in congratulatory messages to the president-elect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu. However, these issues still persist. This morning, we'll look at some of the events and, of course, we'll also look at the idea or the rationale behind INEC's postponement of the Guber election scheduled for Saturday. My name is Olabisi Olani Oluwasegun, and I have in the studios with me this morning Mr. Alan Showore and Mr. Femi Omoshiwa, both legal practitioners, and they will be speaking to some of these issues. We'll also speak with Mr. Tolu Babaleye, who is also a legal practitioner, to talk to us about some of these issues and the consequences of issues raised by the complainants. All right, so first of all, let's look at the whole process put together, and I'll start with Mr. Alan Showore. A lot of international communities, most especially civil society organizations, have adjudged that election peaceful, largely peaceful, and credible as well. That is not to say that there are no complaints by some other segments of the society, but in your view, and as a legal practitioner and a party man, how would you assess that election?
Thank you very much, and good morning, good people from those states. I must say that what happened during the election or before the election was the fact that INEC was able to build the confidence of Nigerians believing in the electoral process, and that really worked. But along the line, I must say that INEC broke our heart. The same INEC that promised that they were going to upload or transmit or transfer or WhatsApp result from polling unit to the coalition center at the ward, at the local government, at the state, all of a sudden turn around to say they have to put up the server or what have you. But in my view, in terms of confidence, I want to say that Nigeria has developed some kind of confidence in the electoral process. But INEC as a body has fumbled by dashing the hope of Nigerians. And, if you want to look at it critically, you know that more people participate in this last election. And largely it was peaceful because of the fact that people believe that, because you are introducing some level of digitalization or through the beavers, that we do not have to fight over anything because the process was going to be transparent. So that was what led to the level of peaceable conduct of the election. But in summary, I will score INEC very low mark for dashing that hope, because it provided for us an ample opportunity to solve our electoral process once and for all. if INEC has started that process and completed it with the manner it started, I will have be here praising INEC, and I know perhaps 60% of our problem will have been solved. But all of a sudden, they caved in. It's a very sad development.
Okay, you're going by what you have said so far. You don't have anything against the process, the electoral process. That's the voting process, up from the polling units up until the collation of results.
Until the server went off.
Okay, the transmission of results is what you're not happy about. Okay,
yes.
So now, does the fact that INEC failed to transmit results electronically have anything, or has that influenced the outcome of the presidential election negatively? Does that invalidate the victory of the president-elect Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu by any means?
Yes, because you see, when you conduct an election that is free, fair, and transparent, people will not have reason to go to court to challenge the process. But as we speak today, even the president-elect has declared by INEC, it's in court to challenge the very result, the very process. I'm very sure you are aware that yesterday the Court of Appeal,
a cross petition.
Yes.
And the reason is in court is because the PDP and the Labour Party want to restrain INEC from reconfiguring.
No, he was there.
And because the PDP, the Labour Party especially, thinks that INEC should give it the leeway to inspect the electoral materials, which Asiwaju also went to court to.
That's a process to challenge. When you go to court to seek leave to inspect the electoral material or the material used during election, it means that you want to be sure, you want to be satisfied. And I must tell you that the result we get from the East, where Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu did not even get 25% of the total vote cast, does not represent the wishes of the people. I don't believe that is that bad. And we have seen results
for the opposition.
Yes, we have seen results where a single person signed for all the parties. I am very sure you have seen it. This is the process we are talking about. So this is the area that all the participants, all the candidates are challenging the process. So you agree with me that more than ever before, this electoral or this process, this election, has witnessed or is about to witness the greatest legal challenge. Most importantly, there's a novel error by or what we legal practitioners have been talking about, the section 134 of the Constitution, which is the threshold to declare a president elect.
That's quite controversial.
It is not controversial.
Even before now, there have been a lot of controversy around
it's not controversial.
that part of the Constitution.
Again, that's why I say INEC has failed us. They should have probably solved that problem. Unfortunately, a senior lawyer has gone to court before now to say this particular aspect of our Constitution, give it a definition, because INEC has the power to, pronounce on certain provisions of the Constitution as you regard the conduct of election. INEC didn't say anything. And before you can announce or declare a president-elect, the sentence you use is that having fulfilled the requirement of laws. So you must cite the provision of this law that you are referring to. And in this particular instance, section 134 of the Constitution is very sacrosanct. What are the thresholds?
Has INEC done anything against that part of the Constitution?
Yes.
In case people do not understand what that part of the Constitution is all about, let me read out from here verbatim. A candidate for an election to the office of president shall be deemed to have been duly elected where there being only two candidates for the election. A, he has the majority of votes cast at the election. He has not less than 1/4 of the votes cast at the election in each of at least 2/3 of all states in the Federation and the Federal Capital Territory, which is the controversial part. And a candidate for an election to the office of president shall be deemed to have been duly elected where there have been more than two candidates of the election. He has the highest number of votes cast at the election. Okay, so basically the parts where a lot of I mean, there's been a lot of
Interpretation,
submissions,
yeah.
submissions that have caused a lot of controversy about that place, that part of the constitution, and that's the B part,
Yes.
where it says should have 2/3 of all the states in the federation and the federal capital.
The and should be in capital letter.
No, it's not in capital letter here. So now let's ask Mr. Moshiwa his view on the whole process before we go to other issues.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Nigerians. The election has come and gone. And number one, there are some people who even said the election will not even come. Thank God the election came and we witnessed it. The process of this election, I must tell you, I give INEC 97%.
In your own view?
In my own view and in a general view. Why did I say so? The law says that INEC shall conduct election. How INEC is going to conduct election is the prerogative of INEC. Nobody should come and say INEC has conducted election, INEC promised that it's going to transmit. Shall. When they say shall, it was never expressed that INEC shall transmit the result at the beginning, at the middle, or later. It shall. Why INEC did what it did is simply because it has been established that over 160 something times INEC server was hacked. And why will anybody complain? When Dino was at the National Collation Center, he started hammering on transmission. People say, what is we are talking, we are not the only person that have interest in this election. There are other people who have interest in this election. Why are you hammering on transmission? It is not different from an armed robber that wants to enter your house. He tried through the gate, he tried through the fence, he wouldn't enter, and he stood in front of your house and start shouting, "Chief," calling you yourself chief. It is the prerogative of INEC to transmit. INEC shall. In fact, it is not even in the law. It was INEC that went further to say, we shall transmit. And if they say they are going to upload, is it the power of PDP or anybody to begin to challenge that you did not do it at a particular point in time? Let us look at this election. I have never seen a credible election like this in the history of Nigeria as far as BVAS is concerned. BVAS captures your face. There are many people in my place that they tried them up to 4 times. BVAS could not capture their faces. And what happens? They said, go home. If you overvote, that place election, that unit election is going to be cancelled. It has never happened. If anybody is saying there is malpractices, yes, you alleges must be able to prove. So I have never seen any reason why somebody will come and tell me that INEC promised this. What did INEC promise? The law is there. The extant law is there. INEC shall conduct election. How INEC is going to conduct election, it is the prerogative of INEC. So and nobody should come and be telling us that INEC promised this. Who is the person that is going to determine how INEC is going to do its job? So, and if you are talking that this thing affects you, let the whole world know how it has affected you. We have Labour today. Labour that started his own election and his own presidential ambition under 6 months. You want to become president under 6 months. When they are even talking about agents, polling agents, you don't even have up to the number of the units in Nigeria. And you are condemning election where other political parties have their agents all over the federation. Is it the court or INEC that is going to help you to do that? And you see PDP start shouting about the uploading. How is it your right? It is not your right alone, it is the right of everybody. So these two parties, I don't see where they are going with their complaint. They know it is dead on arrival. going to court, you want to inspect this, you want to inspect that. The way it affects you, that's the way it affects anybody. If there is irregularity anywhere, it affects APC, it affects PDP, it affects Labour. And people should learn to accept defeat for once. There is no need for all this. In fact, America said, yes, INEC might have not given Nigeria the desired what's it called? The desired promises as INEC has promised. But that does not mean that there is any election in the whole world that is perfect.
Okay, what would be your view on the 25% of FCT votes that has been causing a lot of...
By virtue of the section quoted by my brother here, section 134, by the reason of the fact that a case has been decided where FCT itself has gotten a status of a state, and having been declared a state, there is no issue there. Femi Falana SAN has settled this. He has said it that by virtue of the fact that FCT carries the status of a state, nobody should come and say it is by force that somebody should win even in FCT. And let me ask you, and let the whole world hear this, what is the correlation of FCT and an election? What about if I'm not popular in FCT? I'm popular in Ondo State. Must I win FCT? So nobody should come out.
The law is the law. If the law, no, let's clarify.
Yeah.
I am not for or against.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going to be speaking with another legal practitioner, Mr. Balaye, to ask for his opinion on this issue, because there's been a lot. Even though we understand that there's hardly no issue in Nigeria that does not have lawyers having dissenting opinions.
Yes.
It's always controversial with legal practitioners. That is a known fact.
Yes.
But this is particular to Nigerians because it is a national issue.
Yes.
Now, the "and" in that part of the electoral law of the Constitution,
yes,
what does the "and" signify?
When, in fact, the law says when there are two equal equities, the first in time prevails. That one that you are talking about came. But when there are issues that has been challenged and there is an authority that comes after that law, that one supersede that one that has been on ground. By virtue of the fact that FCT has been given a state status, it has invalidated that "and" that anybody is talking about. So in that case, nobody
because
can...
if we don't want to talk legally right now, if we want to speak grammatically, "and" is a conjunction.
Yes.
That means FCT is part of the other state. It's just saying that it carries a different title than the rest of the states, and that's why the "and" is there. It's just to like an addition.
Basically. Excuse me. Laws. No. You take your time.
Let's take the view of Mr. Showore on this.
It's missing it all. The law is not saying that you have to win in FCT.
You have to have 25%.
What the Constitution is saying, it is not only the Constitution, the Electoral Act, Section 60, is saying that you, as a candidate, the president to be of Nigeria, you must win in 25% of total vote cast. 25%. It's not saying that you should win in the 24 states. You should have majority of vote. That's the first threshold. The second is that you should have 25% of the total vote cast in 24 states and the Federal Capital Territory. It's not saying you should win.
Two-thirds, not 24 states. Two-thirds.
What is 22? Two-thirds.
That's what I'm saying.
Let me simplify it. Two-thirds simply mean 2
over
3 equal parts.
Yes.
1/3 means 1 of 4 equal parts.
Yes.
So when you divide the Nigeria state into 2 or 3,
1/3 means 1 of 3 equal
parts. Yes.
So 25% in 24 states and the Federal Capital Territory. This is different from the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria in 1979 that talk about.
Would you now say that people of Mr. Falana, Senior Advocate of Nigeria status, do not understand the interpretation of that part of the Constitution?
Never said. This is what Falana said.
You don't have to win the FCT.
You don't
That's
have to
what
win.
Falana said. You do not have to win the FCT, but the 25% is sacrosanct. And Falana never said that 25% is not required.
he carefully dodged that aspect. Said you do not have to win, and I stand with him. You do not.
I heard the.
You do not have to win the FCT.
I heard the submission.
25% is.
I heard the submission
very
of a legal practitioner just about 3 days ago, Mr. Clark, who said that this particular part of the Constitution has caused a lot of legal tussle in the past, and in fact was making references to some of these legal battles, but it maintained that it has been settled before now at the Supreme Court, which is the apex court of the land, that you do not have to even meet the 25% requirement in the FCT to be declared winner. As far as you have 25% in 24 states, and then you have the highest number of votes.
There is no such judgment. There is no such judgment. It has never happened before that a candidate never won 25% in FCT. So we must agree that this is a grey area in our electoral process or electoral or democratization process. Who will have envisaged that, for instance, a candidate will not have, or two of the candidates, Atiku did not even have it. So, and that is
the only one of the candidates who had 25% did not meet the other requirements.
Yes. So, and I should have gone ahead.
So, in a situation like that,
just wait,
would there be a stalemate?
There's no stalemate.
Huh?
There's what is called runoff.
No, this situation has not called for a runoff.
But just wait. That's the situation. I should have said, oh, none of these candidates won at the first ballot and declared the result, and then it's 7 days. Call for a runoff election. Nigeria will have been saved from all this legal tussle.
Somebody is qualified on 2 grants. No, you interjected. You interjected. When you were talking, I never interjected.
Mr. Omoshiwa, please let him talk.
So, either should have followed, if you have the electoral act there, read section 60. Section 60 is saying that
of the Electoral Act.
Yes. We said the presiding officer shall, after counting the votes at the polling unit, enter the votes called by each candidate in a form to be prescribed by the commission as the case may be. The form shall be signed and stamped by the presiding officer and at the polling. The presiding officer shall give to the polling unit agent all the distance. Let me read the final distance so that.
Well, while you're on that, let us look at this. What this could potentially cost the nation. This is a national issue, as I said before. A president-elect has been declared. There are 2 parties right now in the court trying to challenge the outcome of that election. And
if I may add to that, please.
Okay.
If I may add to that, in a situation like this, let's even assume that there is no locus classical or an authority to that effect. But let us look at these conditions. Labour Party met one condition.
Good.
Winning to having
25?
No, not 25. Having 25% in about how many states? I think 19 states or thereabout. And what's it called? Alhaji Atiku Abubakar made 21, I think he made 25% in 21 states. We have somebody who made 25% in 30 places, and he has the highest score. And you will now jettison that and sacrifice that for somebody who met only one condition. This man met up to 2 or 3 conditions. And you think the law, excuse me, when the draftman drafts its law, Lord Denning, father of a rule, said, God forbid that a lawyer knows all the law. But he should be able to find the law wherever there is need for it. And when draftman drafts a law, he envisaged an omnibus situation. That, okay, in a situation like this, that we have painted, there could be another opportunity tomorrow. A draftman will draft a law and say, somebody shall travel to Lagos either by air, by road, by water, or otherwise. You understand now? By rail or otherwise. That means they have given opportunity that there could be another means tomorrow that we don't envisage now.
Let's quickly go
so
through
what I am saying in essence is that
okay.
in a situation like this, I can assure you the Supreme Court will juxtapose this situation and look at the preponderance of the likelihood of what the draftman envisaged. Let's even agree that okay, maybe there is no law, there is no authority to the effect of what happens in FCT. In a situation where somebody has 3, others have 1-1, and you will not jettison 3 for the people who have 1-1.
Okay, let's look through.
It will be decided at the Supreme Court. Let people go to the court.
Section 60 of the Electoral Act. 66.
Yes.
Okay, I was looking for 60. You said 60.
66. Sorry.
Okay, so now, what would you advise?
You want it 66? Or you want
Do you have it there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, go ahead.
66, it says in declaration of results. It says in an election to the office of the president or governor, whether or not the contested, and in any contested election to any other elective office, the result shall be ascertained by counting the vote cast for each candidate and subjected to the provision of section 133, 134, and 179 of the Constitution. The candidate that received the highest number of votes shall be declared elected by the appropriate returning officer.
One condition.
He has
Condition
stated
one.
it. So in accordance with section 133, 134, 179.
Which Ajuaju met.
179 applies to governor. 134 applies to the president. And that's what we are saying here. Three condition. You are a lawyer. In law school, they will say questions. Say number 1 is compulsory.
Compulsory, yes.
So what the constitution is saying is,
But if you fail that number 1, does it mean if you perform in the other
you
one?
fail. That's why you fail.
No. You can pass.
You fail.
They say compulsory. That does not mean that you must pass it.
Okay, let's quickly look at the outcome before. I've been trying to get across to Mr. Babale. Probably will do that much later. But the outcome of the appeal court yesterday was that INEC should go ahead and reconfigure the beavers ahead of the global election, which of course has been deferred simply because that ruling, that judgment was made late according to INEC, and there's no way it could meet up with reconfiguring the beavers before the earlier scheduled date. That's Saturday, the 11th of March. Now, what do you think this decision by the appeal court, what does it portend for the whole legal battle put together? Because we've been hearing, I saw an interview yesterday by the DG of the Labour Party, Mr. Femi Osuntokun, where he said that was a blow on the Labour Party. It has somewhat demoralized them, but they are still going ahead to challenge the outcome of the election. But as a legal practitioner, do you think that was a fair judgment by the appeal court?
It was a very fair judgment. So let us be honest. There's no how INEC will have gone ahead to conduct the remaining election without reconfiguring the beavers. And reconfiguring the beavers does not mean losing the data. Already, I expect INEC, and I am even saying that even many of the candidates who have applied earlier, I, as a lawyer, have applied for the beavers report and the result. You will get it. Even I expected by now, INEC should have made photocopy or certified true copy for all the litigants. And it is even stated in the Electoral Act, Section 74. 14 days, if you apply, it's a crime for the commissioner to make it available for you. So the litigants should exploit the provision of the Electoral Act and the Constitution. They should not hit up the polity. It's as a result of the fact that INEC has, like I said, has dashed a lot of people. So that's why there is this increased suspicion. Otherwise, the beavers report is intact. There's no how, except there's a deliberate mischief to distort what is told there. Otherwise, you will always, even the 2019 result should even be available for anybody. So it's not something that INEC can go away with. So we must, as a matter of fact, be vigilant. I am very happy with the appeal court judgment because it has given us the fact that we have to go ahead with this election and people must be vigilant. So it's a good judgment for me.
Okay, what about what's your view on it?
Yes, I adopt his position It's I have said it here that INEC has been saddled with the responsibility of conducting election statutorily, and how INEC is going to do it, it is the prerogative of.
Please pardon me to interject here.
You would have
Why
your time.
will you
would
interject?
have your time.
He has the power, but not
land.
me that I do.
Let him
Why
land.
will you
please.
interject?
Go ahead, Mr. Moshiwa.
INEC has not gone outside the laid down rule by the law. What INEC is doing, in fact, even for INEC to have even gone to court to ask for this right, some people, some school of thought believes that there is no need for it. But you know, in Nigeria, if you want to wee-wee, somebody will go to court that you must not wee-wee. If you want to poo-poo, somebody must go to court and say you must not poo-poo. I think INEC is in tandem with the provisions of the law, and it is good because if there is no comma in first commandment, there may not be need for second commandment. And for the fact that, okay, INEC wants to give the best, there is need for them to reconfigure and in preparation so that if there is any flaw at all, let them do it better this time around. So it's a welcome development.
Okay, going back to, you were trying to allude to section 60 of the Electoral Act the other time, where you said the presiding officer shall transfer the result, including total number of accredited voters and the results of the ballots in a manner as prescribed by the commission. As prescribed by the commission. Now, does this part validate INEC's position that it could, transmit results without doing it electronically?
My dear, let me tell you one thing. I see the whole of this as hypocrisy. Why did I say hypocrisy? From the point of collation of result, every political party has its own agent. From the unit, even to the local government, they have the result. These result sheets were signed by the agents. Nobody objected to it. What happens in Abuja is just a formal transmission, it's just a formal announcement, collation of what happened in River State, they bring it to Abuja. What happened in Kano, they bring it to Abuja. Do you know there was a time somebody was asking a question concerning the uploading? The INEC chairman said, it is not our own responsibility. You have your agents. So the issue of uploading or no uploading, it is our prerogative. We are the one that know when to do it. You can't force us to come and upload when we are not ready to upload. So you have your agent, and none of your agents says they didn't sign some of these result sheets. So why are you now talking about the issue and all the things that they say they have? All the result that they say they have over there is what they brought down here. Because it must be the state rec must have certified it and make the announcement even in the state before bringing it to Abuja. Okay, so why the hula balloon?
Let's create a scenario. What if INEC has a very good reason for not doing or transmitting the results electronically? Reasons that if Nigerians here could be, permissible. Do you think INEC would have a good case then?
Yeah, that's where I was trying to interject. INEC has the power to conduct election by virtue of Section 153 and the third schedule of the Constitution. But INEC is regulated by law. It is a creation of the Constitution. INEC activities are regulated by the Electoral Act 2022. INEC has its own rules specifically for the 2023 general election. And INEC has step-by-step regulation, the hours of election, the mode of election, the time of election, the process of election. I hope you are following. So it is not that, INEC has all the power. So because INEC
nobody is saying that.
That's what we are saying.
It's regulated by the law. Yes.
So specifically,
yes. He has the prerogative to conduct election. How conduct the
Let's
specifically Section 68 of the Electoral Act, posting of result. So it is mandatory that the commission shall cause to be posted on its notice board and the website a notice showing the candidate at the election and their scores, and the person declared as elected or returned at the election.
INEC has not failed in that.
Is that will be done after
Go to the savannah is there.
The IRF is
why is PDP
now,
in a hurry to
let's
see?
Even ask this. Let's even ask this question.
You can now say that INEC is not under any other obligation to. It's under obligation to post.
Nobody is controverting that. Nobody is controverting. Nobody is saying.
The presidential election, the outcome of the presidential election has raised so much dust across many political parties, and that's why we have some of them in court right now. But surprisingly, yesterday, the National Assembly candidates that were re-elected or elected at the Saturday polls were given their certificate of return, and there was no much, trouble about that. Why is that not hypocrisy? You're not complaining about the national, the parliamentary election, and you're complaining about the presidential election in the same process. How do we marry that? How do we reconcile that?
We can reconcile it. We can reconcile it, and that's why I said earlier that even INEC itself has issued a statement that there were glitches, except that we do not want to grow.
Even in America.
Just give me a little time. You cannot be saying, can you compare America to Nigeria?
Make your point.
So the point I'm making is that, for instance, senatorial House of Representative election were declared at the level of the constituency. For instance, we have 3 senatorial districts in Ondo State. So they will be declared, for instance, Ondo South will be in Ore or Okitipupa, maybe a Central will be in Akure. Are you following? So, and there will be people there.
They're declared locally.
But the presidential and the conditions for this election were different. For instance, there's nothing like 25%.
The only similarity is that
25% in 24 states does not exist for National Assembly. It's simple majority.
The only similarity, or one of the similarities, is that you are not acknowledging is that none of these results were transmitted electronically. The parliamentary results wasn't.
No, we have situation where if INEC itself that say, the other results were transmitted electronically. It was only the presidential that was not transmitted. INEC itself says so. That we were able to transmit House of Rep and the Senate. It's only the presidential that were not transmitted electronically.
No, it was targeted.
That was not what was targeted?
The presidential election was targeted.
So that's what INEC said.
Some people who have in fact, they are desperate.
INEC has not come out to officially
say what
acknowledge that its server was attacked.
That's a hearsay.
It only said that it was trying to upgrade the server. That was what INEC said officially. I don't know where you're getting that from.
We have reliably.
That is background information and it's not official. INEC, and as I yesterday, INEC still addressed press and they never said that their server was attacked.
INEC had come out officially to say so. It will be an admittance of failure by INEC. So INEC, I have said it here.
It's not technology.
I have even America's election was.
Stop bringing America to this simple.
No, I am talking because they are the one that gave us democracy. And we see them, we look at them
on the phone. Mr.
We look at them.
On the phone.
We want the best.
Let's quickly listen to what he has to say,
them.
Mr. Obashua. Please don't confuse me this morning. Good morning, Mr. Babaleye. Thank you for joining us on the program.
Good morning, Nigeria. Good morning, people of Ondo State. I enjoyed the robust argument, pro and so by the gentlemen there, and I appreciate what they are doing.
Okay, all right. That's to say that you've been following the conversation. So now we wanted to hear your view on the many issues on ground. First is about the requirement by law of the candidates to be declared winner, and then the issue of the beavers that has raised so much dust since the election was concluded. What would be your view on these issues?
Well, on the requirement of 1/4 of the votes cast in 2/3 of the states in Nigeria, the constitution is very clear about it, but so many people have misinterpreted the constitution by trying to create a special status for FCT. By the constitution, 24 of the 36 states used to be the law and what people are following. But let's bring on now declare Abuja as having the status of a state. It's not the same as where a candidate that should declare winner, we have to win 25. 24.7, but let's just say 25 states. Remember, if I win 25 states out of 37, and you have the highest number of local vote cast, and you can't first in the election, the law says it should be declared.
That's it.
So there's no issue. There's no issue about whether Tinubu made the constitutional requirements. He met it. He overmet it because he has 27 states out of 36 in Abuja. So that is my view on that one.
Okay, that said, what would be your reaction to the many legal battles that we have right now from both the PDP and the Labour Party? Would you say this move is needed by the opposition?
Well, that is part of the beauty of our democracy. Election starts from the walls, and until you get to the court and ventilate it, which outcome can either legitimize the person elected or remove him, then the process is not completed. So what PDP and Labour Party is doing is constitutional. It is expected, and it shows that our democracy is not just for fun. That we are growing, we are developing, and new things are evolving in our democracy, and that is the beauty of what PDP and Labour Party is doing. That on the whole, PDP and Labour Party are doing this thing for many reasons. Some are political. I'm very sure they know that they cannot achieve anything later from what is going on. That's my opinion anyway.
How sure can you be?
But when I say political, they want to use it to keep their supporters, that will be giving their supporters hope that they will cause Ahmad, so that supporters can continue to maintain their status in the party and not cross to the other party who will be in government. That is one of the reasons. But on the legal aspect, I have not seen, though it has happened in many countries, but it has never happened in Nigeria. And with the move the nation, I think it will not happen.
What would not happen? What would not happen?
So now what I'm trying to say is this: in Nigeria, it has never happened. Even when former President Yar'Adua openly admitted that his election was rigged, his election that brought him was rigged. When Supreme Court is supposed to say the election should be rerun or should be handed over to the president that came second, which is our current president, that time, the Supreme Court divided themselves into 4 and 3. Because from my opinion and from what I've read about the Supreme Court, it is not simply a court of justice. It's a court of public policy. So just look at what is happening and try to come with a solution. And I don't think Supreme Court will come with any solution by overturning the election victory of somebody that won the election. When you look at the statistics, he lost Lagos, he lost in Kaduna, he lost in Kano, lost in so many places where APC are holding sway. So that's to tell you that wherever he won those areas genuinely. And he has won this election, and the election was clearly contested by all the parties. And that is what is making our democracy to be stronger. So if you don't win today, definitely you might win tomorrow. So there's no point in the mix. That's my opinion on that one.
Okay, after the appeal court's ruling yesterday, the electoral umpire announced that the gubernatorial election has been postponed by 1 week. Now, all of these variables put together, do you think they would find a way, or there is a way this would affect the outcome of the presidential election, would affect the gubernatorial election to be held on March 18th?
Well, it depends on, in the last general election, there are some people who are even members of PDP work for APC to make sure that the Gaban emerge. Because the presidency of Bola Tinubu is not about political parties. It cuts across all the parties in Nigeria. Even SDP, some people in the party work for the Gaban. So the election of last week was just mainly for Tinubu and not for any party. If you want to be sincere with ourselves. Otherwise, how can he win? How can he have won in River State of all places? How can he win an incumbent in Oyo State? So if there are no what I call horse trading, so it has played out. But this election of tomorrow, which has not been postponed till next week. It's where the governors who have performed well will receive the reward, and those that have performed woefully will also receive the reward on the other side. And you will see what will happen. That it will not be as if it will be like the presidential election. No. So the presidential election, people just voted for APC because of Tinubu. No more, no less. People do not think about what APC has been doing, because we were, just before that election, people were complaining. The way Emefiele was treating Nigerians in terms of highly our naira. So people are supposed to vote against APC if you want to consider politics. But people decided to vote for Tinubu because it is Tinubu and not because it is APC. This is my opinion.
Okay. And
on the issue of Biva, because I listened to their this thing there. Biva, we have 177,000 units in Nigeria, and it was yesterday that Court of Appeal just pronounced that judgment. And having pronounced the judgment, INEC is now left with only 2 days. And after because the Bivas, they have to send it to the various electoral units. It is very obvious that INEC did not have such a manpower that can do that in 48 hours. Now that the court has granted them the permission to go and reload the Bivas, they came together and held a meeting and said they postpone the election by 1 week so that they can load the Bivas. Well, from what I've seen, I don't want to say this on national radio. There's no way that Bivas will be reloaded, that some records will not be eroded. There's no way. All of us use what they call a backup in the computer. When you want to back up your system, definitely you cannot get all the information. INEC has not breached any law, with my opinion, but they have breached what I call public morality. I'm a member of APC, but I'm not talking about the party now. We are talking of how Nigeria can develop. So INEC promised everyone and that they were going to load Bivas, they were going to upload the results through Bivas, this and that. If they have not promised Nigerians that, nobody will take them on now, because there's no law that compels them to upload results. There's no law. Yeah, there's no law that compels them. There's no law that compels them to upload.
But
the law only gives them the discretion to use a method that will be free and fair.
Your learned colleague here has been quoting some sections of the Constitution that mandates the INEC, the electoral umpire, to transmit results electronically. And here you are as another legal practitioner saying that INEC is not bound by law to do that.
To transmit electronically does not mean loading
68.
You can, for example, now they can send the result to everybody that is using GSM in Nigeria. That is electronic transmission. Electronic transmission is not declared in that law. We need a Supreme Court to interpret it, to tell us this is what we mean by electronic transmission. If you look at what has happened during that election, INEC was educating Nigerians, transmitting messages to their telephone. That is electronic transmission.
Okay, now Mr. Babale, let me read out Section 68 of the Electoral Act 2022 as amended.
Okay.
The commission shall cause to be posted on its notice board and website a notice showing the candidates at the election and their scores, and the person declared as elected or returned at the election. You quoted this the other time, and I think my response was, what's your view on this first before I even make my submission?
The section said the commission shall also be posted on its notice board and website will notice showing the candidate at the election and their scores, and the person declared as elected returned. Yes. That is not to say that INEC must transmit it immediately. Like the way they were saying it. There's no law like that. And because some of them are saying INEC is going to transmit in 24 hours. There's no law like that. So if they're telling us, let my colleague there work it out. INEC has the discretion to transmit it within reasonable time. And even 1 week after election, still a reasonable time. I don't know why we are here. If that is what the political parties are taking to court, we already know the result. They will come out a failure.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Babale, another legal practitioner there. See, you lawyers would always give us headaches when issues like this arise because
No, it is clear.
The interpretation of the law
INEC
is usually not in.
No, but there was no time. The law did not say this is the time INEC should do it. I have said it here.
This is, you see, you do not have time. The electoral act stipulate the hours by what will happen by 8 o'clock, by 9 o'clock, by 2 o'clock. It is step by step. It is immediately after the counting of votes.
When you have your agents that have signed the result sheets.
I am not a lawyer.
You know, declaration of result will happen.
I am a student of English language.
Yes.
Can you please read out that again?
It is community reading.
You cannot determine the winner in any election unless it is announced.
Yes.
So by that section of the the electoral act, it means that INEC is still permitted to do that after the announcement of the result.
Results are announced at the units. Every unit will announce its result. And what they are saying is that you are posting it here on the notice board where the agents are, where the people who have voted are still hanging around. Then you are posting it on your website. That's what the law is saying. It's not saying 2 years after. That's not what the law envisages.
Election.
Immediately the presiding official finishes, he posted it on the notice board or the wall. That's why he just read and did not even read. He said the time because it's on the day of election. It's on the day of election. This is what that happens on the day of election.
No.
Okay.
When the election was conducted on Saturday, we never got the a winner until Tuesday or Wednesday. And you are saying it must be done immediately.
Immediately at the polling unit. That's what the law is saying.
The law is so clear.
These issues are being challenged in court. And I'm very sure that INEC will defend itself when the time is right.
In legal drafting, you will see the law will say shall, may, might.
Shall is compulsory.
Compulsory.
Yes.
That shall there was never supported by a time. And INEC has done
I have just shown you.
Okay, now let's just rest this because I know we are not in court.
Of course.
And this is getting so it's
so
getting
tense.
Very interesting. Very interesting.
Now let's talk about INEC as the electoral umpire of Nigeria. Now elections are coming up again in another 1 week or thereabout. What should INEC do better this time, Mr. Omoshua?
I have given INEC 97%. That means INEC still have 3%. Let INEC build up on what they have been doing. It is not because my party won, but nobody can controvert the fact that INEC has done better than the way it was even during Professor Nwosu Atairu Jega time. We have beavers now. In fact, let me tell you one thing that surprised me. My uncle, they tried to capture him 4 times. They said he cannot vote. They said they can't. The man has said, let me vote. They said if you vote and it is not counted on the beavers, it will destroy everything.
And one beautiful thing about the beavers in this election is that
and the only thing,
cases of overvoting.
The only thing Mr. Showore cannot dispute here, and I know as a lawyer and as a reasonable man, he will not dispute the fact that beavers is good. But the only area which I believe there could be manipulation, which we saw on social media, the result sheet, somebody might write 80 for A party, 70 for D party, 20 for F party. But somebody can now cancel and take the other number and put it somewhere where there is that cancellation, or where you are not, the real result is not there. People should be able to monitor the result sheet that is being computed. We have seen situations like that. But as far as beavers is concerned, and what I want INEC to do, if possible in near future, maybe where you are being captured, you may be able to say, maybe there will be a voice message or what have you, where somebody can ask you, whom are you voting for? You say, I am voting for so person. It will be on record. Because where we have problem,
voice voting,
if possible. Nothing in life is static. Where people manipulate now is that result sheet.
In an era where audio files are being doctored.
No, I think that
Do you
thing
think
goes.
that would be
We you know, we are advancing technologically.
Yeah, okay.
We are advancing technologically.
Anything can happen, though.
There was a day I and one of my friends were talking. We said we are watching television here, and somebody at the back is not watching it. Say, is it not possible for us to have a television that has two faces? We just Google it.
With technology, anything
We
is
just
possible.
Google it. We saw
Now-
a television that has one face here and the other face there. So anything can happen.
Okay, so a lot of people during the announcement of the results at the National Collation Center, we had cases of overvoting that were detected, all thanks to beavers. Do you think this is a major plus to the electoral process?
Yes, let me quickly react to some of your submission that there's no how I will have condemned beavers. But the major contention in this election is the bypass of the process. Like Babala just said, that INEC has promised that we are going to use this process, we are going to deploy this equipment. I've started working on some of those roads. There are polling units where beavers were completely neglected, and people just went back to the manual editing. So it is important for us to get the report of beavers. Were there beavers accreditation in all the units across the nation? Were there overvoting, like you have said? Were there doctored result? That's why the transmission is very important. So if you are transmitted ahead, what the law says is that before the presiding officer get to where he or she is going, the result will have gotten there, so that they will just look at what you have done at your polling unit and what you brought, so that there won't be any manipulation.
In an era, just saying, in an era where ICT has made hacking very, very easy for so many people, don't you think electronic transmission could have even put the country under more mess?
No, electric transmission is to double check. You have the manual, you have the result here, you have at the polling unit, you send it ahead. Even though somebody attack you, God forbid, on the road, the copy that you have sent ahead will speak ahead for you. You just came and say, oh, this is what you have forwarded. In a situation where you yourself decided to change the figure, what you have sent ahead will contradict what you are bringing. And that's the importance of the electronic transmission of results.
Okay, thank you very much.
Which has been defeated.
For being on the program this morning, Mr. Shore, it's nice to have you on the show, and Mr.
Thank you.
Femi Omoshiwa, thank you very much
Thank
for
you
coming.
very much for having me.
My appreciation to Mr. Tolu Babaleye, who also joined us on the program this morning. Next week, Thursday, Public Square will return. Thank you very much for being a part of it. My name is Olabisi Olani Oluwasegun. Good morning.